Hi there, Christina here. Thanks for tuning in. As promised, I am recording this video as a reintroduction, tell you how I got here and why I'm here. So, I guess in the beginning, early of 2020, I was in a major car accident and everything in my life changed. I sustained a lot of injuries and was off work for quite a while. The worst of the injuries, unfortunately, was a head injury. Um, and that was the worst of it. I experienced major concussions. Actually, they classified it as a brain injury. Um, yeah, it basically, that car accident threw me out of orbit. I couldn't work or drive. I couldn't really stand for more than a few minutes at a time and really couldn't really take care of myself. And everything just kind of narrowed down the scope of my life. I'd say for the first 6 months, I really struggled. The first year was pretty rough, actually. Everything was so hard. I didn't understand what was going on a lot of the time. I wasn't forming memories, and I think that might be a blessing because it was indeed so rough. It would be hard to have to remember all that stuff. I do know I was hyper focused on the pain. That was the huge, it overwhelmed me. I basically, my personality fell off. I lost my sense of humor, my enthusiasm. Like it was just, it was in survival mode. The second year, things got a little bit better with my health physically. Like my body healed up quite nicely. My head, however, I still had a lot of cognitive issues. I was working with a neurologist and concussion therapist. And actually, I got a lot of help along the way, which was something I was just really grateful for. Yeah, for the second year, I was really feeling sorry for myself. I definitely was. I whined, why did this happen to me? Things like that, just very focused on the negatives. And I realized at some point in there that as I was healing my body, I should also heal my mind because it seemed like everything was just out of whack. Um, so I asked my doctor, what can you do? She signed me up for a dealing with or living with chronic pain course. It was just a little 8-week course, but in that they talked a lot about the mindset connection and how your mindset actually does influence how your body responds to pain. It actually affects a lot. And so that's when I realized I really do need to work on my mindset. So I started following positive coaches and speakers on YouTube and just listening to what they had to say. Um, and it was really started to make me feel better. I started following Peter Sage and I signed up for a 1-year ultimate self-mastery course. And I thought it was pretty perfect. It was once a week lesson and once a month coaching call. And where I was at, that was about all I could handle. But things started to progress, and yeah, uh, things started to get better the more determined I was to get better, and the more I paid attention to what I was thinking. Paying attention to what I was thinking was key. I realized that I was tense all the time, physically like this. So I would have to mentally coax myself, like, calm yourself. And I would have rail train thoughts just going crazy. And I would have to notice and say, okay, calm down, calm that. And breathing was really key. Actually, breathing was key in those first 6 months as well. I think I breathed my way through that. I did a lot of yoga and teacher training before that, so I had the tools, thankfully, to know about breathing and know how much it does affect and help us. Yeah, so also in that second year, when I started to take the ultimate self-mastery course, I started to volunteer at the local animal shelter once a week. And it was quite hard for me to do these things, but I was proud of myself for doing it, and I felt better. The gals at the SPCA are just, they're wonderful, and I started to have little conversations and feel, a little bit more like a human again. And being around the animals is just wonderful. Another key factor in my healing journey was humor. My son, he's really funny, and but he's also really kind, and he had a really nice way of bringing things back and kind of poking fun at it, and really it lightened it for me. Um, in that first year, I had a lot of passing out spells, and there was one particular time I was going to pass out, and so I was racing to the kitchen to grab Ativan, because I just thought if I take a pill instantly, it's going to make me better. And I called for him, and I passed out, and he poked fun. He's like, "Remember that time I came upstairs and you were on the kitchen floor and there was pills everywhere?" And, we just kind of laughed at that and made light of it. And another thing, I took him to the vape store, and then I was like, "Yeah, this one's closer to our house. We should come to this one more often." And he's like, "Mom, like, we have been here 3 times." And I didn't have that memory of that. And so it was kind of funny. Every time we'd go there, he'd be like, "Oh, do you remember being here?" And it was funny. And another actually funny thing was, he showed me this Mountain Dew, and it had like a flavor infused with berry, and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome!" And he just burst out laughing in the store. He's like, "I have showed the same bottle to you like 3 times, and you respond the same way every time by getting so excited, and it's hilarious." And just those little things along the way lightened everything. Because when I was focused on how much pain I was in and how bright everything was and how bad everything was, that just seemed to make it worse. But when we laughed at it and could joke about it, things seemed to be a lot better. And things did slowly get better. I was able to return to work 1 shift a week for 1 hour last fall, and that was very awesome. And slowly but surely, I have been able to increase that. The amount of hours I work in a week, most people work more than that in a day, but I'm getting there. And being back at work is wonderful. It did a lot for me to reconnect with people. I had gotten so lonely and so isolated. And actually, at the beginning of 2023, that loneliness is what really drove me to join Peter Sage's EMF program. And yeah, it was quite a push for me to get the money together. But I also joined the EMT program at the same time. And the reason I did that is because I felt such a pull from where I was, that I needed to help other people who were where I was to get ahead. And I am not anywhere perfect, and I think in a way I've struggled making this video, because I felt like, well, my life isn't perfect. I'm not fully healed. Like, who is going to want to learn this stuff with me, Who's going to want to take the course and have me teach them and help them? But then I kind of gave my head a shake, and thankfully I was able to do that because of that amazing peer group I developed in taking those programs. When you join EMF, you're automatically put in with all the other people who are in that, and that's your peer group there. But I also joined EMT, and so all those people have successfully passed EMF and are now going to be teaching the course as well. So those people I really bonded with, as we are so like-minded. And yeah, basically nothing is perfect, but everything is better, I am able to handle my life so much better. Actually, my son commented a couple of months ago, he's like, "Nothing really phases you anymore, does it?" And I thought, yeah, you're right. It doesn't. I'm able to handle things, and I have the tools. and I've put them into work. Like I am putting them into work, and I'm continually learning. And I think that's how I have healed, is by continually trying and continually learning. Anything I can about brains and memory, I just gobble up, because I feel like if I can understand what's going on with me, then I can get over it a lot easier. Yeah, I don't focus on what I can't do very often. I mean, the reality is that a lot of things I can't do anymore that I used to be able to do, but that's not what I focus on anymore. That kind of, I focus on the things that I can do and that I have done and I've pushed myself to do and that I'm proud of. And that, I think that little bit of positivity and that bit of humor. And then the other key component that I didn't even realize that I was tapping into was gratitude. All along the way, I was so darn grateful to my family, who was driving me to the millions of physio and doctor and specialists and appointments. And I was so grateful for those appointments, because my car accident happened right before COVID and everything shut down. So I didn't actually get any help for the first 3 months, because everything was kind of just shut down and on the phone. And by the time I actually got in to see someone, it was quite far in. And when you have a head injury, the key thing is to get help right away. And that little bit of time in there was a loss when I could have been getting better. But I don't focus on that. I'm grateful that I had those doctors and that I am able to, I had insurance that covered all those appointments. And I was so grateful to be alive. I love my son, and that was the main thing. I was like, I want to be his mom, and I'm so grateful that I can be here, all these phases and stages, and that gratitude kept me through. Like, I admit there was times where I was in so much pain that I wished that I had died in the accident, but deep down I didn't. I was grateful that I survived, and I kept questioned often, like, if I've survived all this, there must be some bigger, greater reason. And now I think that reason is that I want to help others. I know what it's like to be stuck on the couch for days and months and years, and how depressing that is, and how isolating that is, and how when something happens, sometimes you have to stop, but the world keeps going, and you lose your friends, and you lose your partners, and you lose people, and you lose parts of yourself. But that doesn't mean that the quality of your life has to be gone forever. There's so much more to it, and if you can make some key context changes, and rather than focusing on all the bad things that happened and the why me's, if you can change your focus on to the positives and the things you're grateful for, and be okay with poking a little fun at it and finding lightness and humor in the situation. This got really long and much longer than I intended. But the good news is most people, they already stopped watching it at about 90 seconds to 2 minutes. That there's only a few of you who watched this whole thing, and I love you guys. I appreciate you so much, like you don't even know. So if you did watch this whole way through, or if any of this resonated with you, drop a heart in the comments. Or if you are struggling and want to talk to me about that, I'm here to listen, and I want to be there for you. And I just want to tell you that things are going to be better. They got better for me, and they're still getting better for me, and they're going to get better for you too.